Hi, my amazing planner friends. It's Jess from My Magical Planner, and it is finally here. My Hobonichi Cousin for this next year has arrived. I'm so excited to share it with you. I do have a couple of other goodies to share as well, including a cover and a couple of stationery items that I got from Yoseka. So I did make this entire order through Yoseka Stationery, which I'll link them down below for you guys. But I was really disappointed. I had stayed up for launch night and was going to order directly from Hobonichi themselves and was super excited about that. I had done it the year before. The gifts looked really cute because each year when you order directly from Hobonichi, there's always a Uni Jetstream pen as well as some other little gift that you get along with it. This year was going to be a notebook, which I thought was so incredibly functional, and I was looking forward to that. However, the launch night was such a disaster that I gave up hope. So I've mentioned this in passing in some of my other videos. I did stay up for the launch. I tried to buy things immediately. I was ready to check out within 15 minutes and then could not check out, which is the story for, I think, the majority of people that night. They had some server issues and then things were looking like they were out of stock, even if they weren't, but there was no communication telling us, hey, we're having problems with our computers. And even though it looks like everything's sold out, it's not. And I kind of panicked, even though logic tells me that they would probably restock the Cousins. That being said, I panicked. It's a spur of the moment thing, whatever. And so I ended up going over to Yoseka Stationery to order my cousin. They were already out of stock of the Avex and I think the Japanese version. And so even though I had originally wanted to get a Hobonichi Avac, I ended up getting the full year English edition because that was what was in stock. Now, everything did come back the next morning, and all of these, these two items were in stock, and I did contemplate going and canceling my Yoseka order and ordering directly from Hobonichi. I didn't for two reasons. First, I don't like canceling orders. I just feel wrong about it and almost dishonest. But if there had been a more of a financial difference, I would have. And what I mean by that is, so the Hobonichi Cousin, if I had bought it directly from Hobonichi, was $39, I believe. It might have been a little bit lower because there were some adjustments with price past like 2 days, and I just looked at that again today. So $39 for the Cousin from Hobonichi Direct. From Yoseka, it was $60. So it's a $21 difference. And that's substantial, trust me. So there was that, but I also ordered the cover, and the cover was $56 from Hobonichi Direct and $65 from Yoseka as a reseller. So that was a $9 difference. So that meant there was a $30 differential between the two. The difference is that with Yoseka, I got free shipping. With Hobonichi, I would have had to pay $30 in shipping. So it ended up being the same price, essentially. Had I ordered from Hobonichi, I probably would have gotten a few more items, but in the end, I think it actually all worked out because it stopped me from splurge buying some items that maybe I didn't need. So there is that. Now we are going to address a little bit of the reseller price because a lot of people, I think that it's the resellers themselves who are jacking up that price. It's actually not. A lot of that has to do with what Hobonichi's agreement with those resellers is and what they are paying for them and what they're allowed to sell them at. There's a whole agreement in that. And so when you see those marked up prices, don't just think that it's, US shops making this huge profit off of you because these planners are in such high demand. There's actually more to it than that. which I think helps us to understand that markup because it is substantial. The other factor that went into me keeping the Yoseka order was, so I really looked at the gift products that I would be getting because that kind of was the big difference at that point, which was the Uni Jetstream and a notebook. So I looked at the colors of the Uni Jetstream, which were orange and yellow, kind of like Ronald McDonald colors. I know it's to go with the Paddington stuff that they released this year and everything. I totally get the theme. It isn't a me theme. So when I sat down and really thought about it, it wasn't a pen that I was really going to use that often because I didn't like the aesthetics of it. It's a great pen. I love, this is the one from last year, and I love how this writes. I love the versatility of it. It is just a really good pen. However, like a lot of the colors that they pick for these pens maybe don't fit with my aesthetic. This one happened to appeal to me, and so I have used it all year long. There have been other ones that they've released that I'm like, I'm okay. So there is that part. Then when I looked at the notebook, I was like, is it worth it just for the notebook? And the covers, well, I liked some of them. I can't guarantee that I get one that I liked. And it was in a size that I don't really use because I think it's the A6 size. So it's a smaller notebook. And when I have notebooks from Hobonichi, I tend to get the A5 size because I like that size for using notes and that kind of thing. So I did decide that between that and the fact that I had, I don't really like shiny covers. It's a personal thing. I tend not to like a shiny cover notebook. I mean, I go a lot for matte finishes, and so the notebook looked to be a shiny, and I'm sure that's to protect the notebook itself. But I decided with that information that I really don't need another notebook, and I wasn't sure that I was going to like that notebook, so it didn't feel like it was worth it to cancel this order. So that is my whole spiel on why I ended up sticking with Yoseka. So let's first go over, I think, the items that I actually purchased from Yoseka that are separate from my Hobonichi items. So they did include these two things. So this is a really cute like art card. I actually really love this. I think I might put it up here in my office. And on the back, it does have information about Yoseka here. Like I said, I'll link them down below. They also put a personal note on here, which I thought was really sweet. They did have some delays in their shipping because their Hobonichi orders, which Hobonichi doesn't ship everything out to their resellers until like the last minute, and it got held up in customs. Nothing they can control. They assured everybody they were really good about their communication on that, actually. So this is really cute card from them. They also included a little Yoseka stationery sticker. I feel like this is a Japanese thing. I love getting stickers of any sort, and it is a really nice kind of vinyl-y type sticker. In Japan, I've been reading how you often take like notebooks or planners and stuff, and they have stamps places that you'll stamp your notebooks with to kind of commemorate you going there and that kind of thing. And I feel like this is sort of a tribute to that type of society. So I really like the fact that they included it. So we have that. Then we have this little package here, which I have already kind of peeked inside. So 2 additional items that I purchased. I have a pen and a little notepad. So we'll do the notepad first. This is from a Japanese artist, I think she's an it's a he, an illustrator and stamp maker. And this memo pad was set like something on it, I think, said that it was supposed to be fountain pen friendly. And with the design and everything and my love for my fountain pens, I really wanted to get it. It is just a regular notepad. It only cost $5, and it has 5 different designs, which we'll look at a little closer. And each design, I think, is supposed to have 10 pages, maybe. So it's a substantial little notebook here. Oh, and that's separate. So really cute. The paper is really, really smooth. Has nice colorings. The name of the artist is Eric Little Things, I think. And you'll see on all of these little designs that there is Small Things, or maybe it's Eric Small Things. I don't know. Something like that. And so there, you will see this on all the different designs. But first we have like this little ink bottle here. It says hello, blue, black, Small Things in 50 milliliters. And up here it says my favorite things. Then we have one that says hello, Small Things, and it has like the buttons here, and it says how are you, and it has all of the stationery items at the bottom, plus it's lined, which I thought was really nice. Then we have one that is enjoy the small things, have a nice day, and it has like a little telephone down here as well as a fountain pen. So I think this was really good for like writing notes for phone messages and that kind of thing. And then not our last design, our second to last design, I had to look, has like the little stamp here and the fountain pen down here, and it says have a great holiday, gold pen, good time. And then it has, it's kind of a fold over. So I thought that was really cute. And then the final design is, it says, how are you down here? Enjoy the small things, drawing pencil, and have a nice day. And this even says one way down here. And up here we have the 3 different colors, as well as have a great holiday, which I thought was really cute. So just a really nice little notepad. I love having notepads in my planner cases so that if I need to write anything down, I always have something. And having a notepad that is fountain pen friendly is really exciting to me. So there is that. And then because I was missing out on the Uni Jetstream from Hobonichi, I did buy my own. So this one is a $12 pen. It is a little bit fancier than the one that you get from Hobonichi in that it has more colors, plus it has a pencil. So it does have black ink, blue, green, and red, where this one only has the black, blue, and red. And then, like I said, it also has a pencil option there, which is actually controlled by the little clip. The clip is metal as well, which is a little bit nicer. The grip section, I'd say, is about the same. This one might actually be a little bit nicer. It's a little bit thicker because it does have more inks and such in it. But I love having the pencil option as well. And you even have a little eraser in here, which is nice. It's kind of covered up really well. And just all the different pens. This is a 0.5 for the pen tip, which is the same size as the Hobonichi pen. So very comparable. And I was getting a color that I really liked opposed to one that I really didn't care for. So there's that. It is called the 4-in-1. And the Uni Jetstreams are a ballpoint pen, just as a reference. If you're looking for pens for your Hobonichi, the one that they send is a ballpoint. So this is the case that I purchased this year. It is the lined fabric Twill cover, which is super cute. It is the second year that I've gotten a fabric cover. So not last year, but the year before, I did get this cover. I took it off of the planner it was on just to show you. It does have a little bit of discoloration here and a little bit on the inside. I'm pretty sure I can actually clean those. And it does have a slightly nicer ribbon than I think this one does, because it does have the ends on it. This was a new cover for the year that I bought it. So I do have this one to compare it to, plus my cover from last year, which is the green leather cover. I will be reusing this year. And I also have a Moterm cover here for reference. So I have decided that I prefer the Hobonichi covers, especially with this pen closure. And let me show you why. Let me just empty that one out. So with the Moterm covers, this pen loop, instead of going out like these do, it goes up. And it has a tendency of getting in the way when I'm writing. And so it really annoys me. So I wanted to replace this cover, which is the cover I use, at least this year, it was the cover I used for my Sterling Ink planner, which I do have an order coming on that. So I'm going to reuse this cover for my Hobonichi Cousin this year. I absolutely adore this cover. It is a real leather cover. It's a custom color that they came out with last year. It's still in the shop. It is probably my favorite cover I've ever gotten. And part of that is the color and the fact that it's a really nice leather cover, but also the design of the pockets works so well for me that I wanted to make sure that I was getting that in whatever cover I purchased this year, which is why I ended up with this one. Now, I'll admit I didn't really look at the color on the inside and realize that it was blue. I thought it was black. So we do have like the little warranties and all that in here. So the cover itself is this really dark gray with a lighter gray, and you do have a white line in there. So really, really pretty. I was testing it out earlier to make sure the size was the same. It is just a really, really pretty cover. So you get the two ribbons here. Now they do not have, like my other ones, have things attached to the ends so that they don't fray. And I know that isn't a problem with some of these covers. It's like the only downfall I think that they have because they're so well made. You can take a lighter and just kind of singe these, or some people use clear nail polish to just seal those ends so they don't fray. So just a little for your information thing, but those do work really well. I sometimes use them, sometimes don't. I love having this back pocket, which evidently has some writing on here. I'm not sure what that is for, if it marks the name of the cover or anything like that, but there is that there. You don't really see it, but. And then we have a red Hobonichi little tag here, which I have no issue with at all. It lays flat and it actually looks really nice with the design. So you have this pocket to stuff like little things in. I tend to put, like I have one of these that I put in the back of my other one so that if I'm on the go and want, like sometimes I'll put sticky notes on here or anything like that. This is actually a little piece of plastic that was in a Hobonichi Weeks from a couple of years ago. So there is that. It works really well back there. Then you have a pocket here. This is to slip your planner into. Some people use both sides so that your planner is completely open. I'll show you that in a second. But you do have a pocket on this side as well as a pocket on the other side to do that with. Then in addition, you have a large pocket here. It does only go to this line here, so it's not as deep as the pocket below. So if you're only stuffing your planner into this side, know that you have that big complete pocket to put things in. Then you have all of these pockets here. This one is your deepest pocket. It goes all the way down to the bottom here for the stitching. So it's great for doing things like notepads, or I have one of these little books. They're about the size of the field notes or I think passport little booklets. And these actually fit really well into this pocket. And that's what I've started doing with some of my covers because I like having an additional little book in here. I also will put sticky notes in here, as you can see from this planner, or sometimes like here are sticky notes. I have some stickers in here. I have just other sticky notes, little things like that that I might want. A lot of times I'll put a paper clip or two on this smaller pocket in the front, or I have some washi cards like this. So if I'm going on a trip or something, I'll often put those in there, or a stencil if you have one of the really little stencils or something like that. So the design of these pockets is just amazing. And then on the back, you have an additional little pocket here to slip things in. I tend to use this for the Hobonichi sized little booklets like this and my pencil board to slip them in here. It just makes it really easy for access. Sometimes in my current one, I have slipped my Moxie Life planner as well in there. I'm not sure. This one feels a little bit tighter. I think you can make it fit, but it would be a bit of a, there we go. It's definitely tighter, but you can make that fit if you really wanted to. It is a little thicker than the other booklets as well. So that is the cover I picked this year. And now for the star of the show, my Hobonichi Cousin. So it does say over 10 million copies sold. The original Hobonichis came out in, I think it was 2001. So they've been around quite a while. They do take customer feedback every year to make modifications on their planner and make it better each year. There aren't a whole lot of changes between last year's and this year's planner. I am going to go over some unique features that the Cousin has, but just know that it is pretty similar to last year. The biggest changes are, or the only changes that I can think of, are actually the changes every year. They kind of update the pages, like the extra pages in the back, and so we'll go over those. Now, since I did get the English version, there are a couple things that are not included in here, and I will try to point those out as we go through the book. Before we go into the Hobonichi Cousin, you do also get this little booklet. Now, this little booklet is all in Japanese, I think. Oh no, it has English here too. So you have like a little story, I think, here with, well, that starts with 2. So I'm gonna start over here. I haven't read it, so I don't know it all, but I will read it later. But you have that little story, which is kind of cute. You also get the Hobonichi Techo official website and the mystery. Ooh. I'll have to figure out what that is, if that's like the ending to the story or something. They're big. This always has like their big theme for the year. A lot of people find this image kind of creepy. So I do like these little guys down here. Yeah. But every year they kind of have a theme. And this year was, I believe, potential. And it says here, there's a treasure hidden inside you. Superhuman strength waiting to be awakened. This is your potential. Watch it shine through bit by bit in the pages of your life book. It's more than you can ever imagine. This charm, this spell, it's your potential. I think that's actually a really cool quote. And I'm not big on the artwork. It is very Japanese to me. And I like the concept of the story. And that's really, I think, what the Hobonichi is supposed to be about, is like, it is a life book, not just a planner. So they do put a lot of thought into the Hobonichi Cousin, or all of their planners. It is very well designed, and I'm going to go over a couple of design things that are there and we take for granted. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the stitching. I think they were the first planner that I know of that had this type of binding for their planners, and it's a stitch binding. So when you see these little cross sections, know that that's totally normal. It doesn't mean that your planner is defective or that there's anything wrong with your planner. What it does mean is that, so they stitch these little booklets together, and then those little booklets get stitched into this big thing. That is how you have a planner that no matter where you open it up is going to lay completely flat for you. I love that it lays flat no matter how you open it. It makes writing in it so much easier. And even when your planner gets to this point, this is this year's planner, so it's getting pretty chunky in there. So that binding allows it to kind of flex with the influx of stickers and other things. A lot of people put memorabilia and do almost a scrapbooking type thing in here. So when you get to this point, you can still open it up. We're going to go to the back. And it's still pretty flat. Now you do have a little bit of a bend here, and that's okay. The design of this book allows you to then fold it over wherever it makes sense, to make it flat again and even on both sides, which is a unique feature to this type of binding. So there is that. Okay, back to this year's version. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the paper that they use. So the paper they use is a Tomoe River S paper, and which is different from the older Hobonichis in that the machine that they used to print the paper on broke, so they can no longer make it, and so they had to make some modifications. It is a unique paper GSM, I found out. I thought it was the exact same as what like the Sterling ink uses and stuff, and it is very close, but it has its own GSM. I think it's 48 or something. I'm not entirely positive. Someone told me about it in one of the comments of my last video where I was comparing the Hobonichi Cousin from this year to my Sterling ink planner from this year. So if you're still debating between the two, I will link that video up above for you. But having that Tomoe River paper, which is a very thin paper that allows for, like, a lot of people call it Bible paper because it is so thin. So it is a paper that is specifically super thin, super strong. It works really well with things like fountain pens. It doesn't allow a lot of ink to seep through. Now, that being said, there have been some instances with some paper quality issues in the recent year or two, I think, where some people have had some inconsistencies in the paper. Usually it's not the whole planner. Sometimes it'll just be a page or two that aren't as good in quality, and so you might have some leak through on those pages. I personally haven't really had an issue with that, but I know that that's something that's out there in the community. Having that really thin, super strong paper is what allows them to have a book that has 544 pages that is, less than an inch thick. So it is really important to this type of planner. The next thing I'll mention is the corners. You'll notice that they're slightly rounded here. And there's actually a purpose to that. Through their research, they found that if you slightly round the corners like this, it does prevent damage to your planner and the pages themselves. Now, mine did come with a little bit of a scrunch up here in the corner. It happens. I'm not too concerned about it, but I know some people would be. This is because of how it was mailed. It was in a box and the box got squished. And so there was some extra space around it and it kind of got jammed around in there. I don't blame Yoseka. I kind of blame my post office a little bit, but it is what it is. I'm probably going to put a clear cover on this, so it's not going to be a big deal for me. But I do appreciate the thoughtfulness and the design. The other thing that I'll bring up is the coloring. So they actually did research on the colors that they used for their grids. Now, the grids in the front are all kind of this grayish color. It is only when you get to the back months that each month is a different color. And they specifically designed it to be easy on the eyes using the type of lines that they have, the colors and how dark they are and everything, so that they will not distract from your writing, but they are there as guidelines. So I will say that you also have, and I pointed this out in my last video, you in the daily section have this hidden line here, which does separate your schedule area from your notes or whatever you want to use the rest of the page from. You can also completely ignore it. It is just the difference of, like, it's the same color as all the surrounding lines, but these are all dotted lines where this line is a solid line, which makes a big difference. So those are all the big features that I can think of that are unique to here. Now we are going to do a flip through of the whole Hobonichi, so we can talk about other things as well. So let's talk about the cover first. The cover is a kind of ivory cream color. Now, if you order the AVEC, which is the year split into two, you will get a different cover. It is, oh, here's an old one. Hold on. So it will come in yellow for the first half of the year and blue for the second half of the year. A lot of people really don't like, especially the yellow. So know that going in, but you can get stickers or other things to cover this. There are people who did videos on how to, you know, make your own covers for this. You can get clear covers for them and add stickers, you know, whatever you want to do. My current cover that I use all the time is actually this one. I got it on Etsy, and unfortunately the shop is no longer around, but there are other companies that make covers like this. The branding is pretty minimal and is just this right here. You don't have anything on the spine or on the back. So if you did want to cover that up, it's really easy to do. And it does add a little bit of a structure. So it is bendy, but not so bendy. It doesn't have structure. And then in the inside, you do have kind of this inner cover with this thicker craft paper as well. This is great for decorating and that kind of thing, or maybe putting some notes in here that are really important to you. Then you have these two pages, some more craft paper on this side, and then your kind of entry page, which does stick a little bit more to that first page because that's just how the binding works. You're going to find that in any type of planner of this type. So you do have your branding here, but other than that, you don't have anything on this page. Then we have our yearly calendars. So we have the current year for the planner on this side. You have the previous year and the next year. This is for your year at a glance type thing where you're trying to plan out vacations or look when kids are off from school and those type of things. That's what this is meant for. I don't think there's any difference at all on this page from the previous year. And the only thing that really sticks out, and some people get kind of annoyed by these, are the red and gray lettering for Saturdays and Sundays. I don't think there's any other difference on this page. I don't think there's any difference on this page between the Japanese, English, or Chinese versions, to my knowledge. If I'm wrong about that, let me know down below. But it is just a universal system. The Japanese one, I think, might have also the symbol for the month, but I'm not 100% on that. Then we have these two pages. Now, these are called the monthly index. People call them other things as well. So you have your year up here where you have each month, and you have 6 months or, you know, a quarter per page. And so you have 3 check boxes at the top. These are kind of meant to be like your goals for the month or monthly to-dos, that type of thing. And then you have the full month here with 1 line each. A lot of people use this as a tracking page. I am actually coming out with a video that is going to show you a bunch of different things you can use this for. And then down here, you just have some empty space to make notes or whatever. That was the intended function, is a notes section for like memories or other things that you may want to remember. The Sundays, again, are in red. That's universal throughout the planner. And the Saturdays are kind of this off color. I think in the Japanese version, holidays might also be signified on here, but I'm not 100% positive. So we have January through June here. And then on the next pages, we have July through December. Then we go into our monthly spreads. It does start in December so that you can start stepping into the planner before you get to January and kind of ease into that. Because a lot of times we have that go on in December kind of bleed over into January. So you can step in here. You have these nice grid here, which is really helpful. You have all your days across the top, and you, even in this version, you have the Chinese symbols for each of the days. Again, Sundays in red, Saturdays in kind of this bluish gray. Then over here on the side, we have a block that has your month, as well as the date of the month, the symbol. as well as 2024. Now, there is some slight differences in this area between the English and the Japanese version. All right, this is from my Hobonichi Cousin AVEC from 2022, but you can kind of see the difference here where they also get all the symbols for the month here, and they have these symbols as well in the month wrote out down here. It's just a little bit of a format change. It's not huge, but know that going into it. You also have on here, you'll notice, like, holidays are on the Japanese version, which I think are some of these. Hold on, let's go to a month where I know where the holidays are, right? So oh, these must be the holidays in the red. There we go. I was like, I know it's here somewhere. So they just have the slightly discolored, like little, you can fade in. And then they also have the old Japanese calendar, and is it Raku or something? Where it's a 6-day cycle of what days are like good luck and bad luck, which a lot of Japanese people use for planning out weddings and funerals and that type of thing. Those are included in the Japanese version, but not in the English version. You also have the weeks for the year on the side. And the first week of the year will be the first full week that includes a Thursday. So that means this week that starts December 30th, which would have a Thursday in it, is going to be the first week of the year for counting purposes. And they're all lightly put right here on the side. It has a W and the number below. You also have your moon phases here. So I believe this one is a new moon and this is a full moon. These are, even though it's universal no matter where you are, because the moon is kind of, you're on the same axis. Because the moon phases are pretty universal no matter where you are. The only difference is sometimes that full moon is like a day off, depending on where you are in relation to Japan as far as the date line. So all of the moon phases are aligned with Japan. So if the day seems a day off, that is why. And you get December through, you get the entire year. Sorry. So here's December, and then you go into next year. And the only difference from the current year to the next year, and you do get a couple of months, I think it's through March, you do get the year here on the side to indicate you're going into the next year. So that is the only difference that I know of. And like I said, you get January, February, and March to kind of pre-plan a little bit into the next year. After you get through those, you do get your weekly spreads. These are pretty unique, I think, to the Hobonichi Cousin. I know the weeks has a spread, but it isn't this type of spread. So it is a week on 2 pages, and you have, it's a Monday start. I don't think they make any other start. I could be wrong. And you have the month up here in the corner, along with the year, what week it is. You have a little calendar with the week circled, and then you have everything throughout. And you will get your moon cycles on here as well. If you were in a Japanese planner, you would also get, let's open up to a weekly page, because I don't think this has changed. So this is the difference in the layout for the corner. It just has, the year. You have more of that exact same. It's pretty much the same as here as far as what you get. So just know that. I believe this one would also have the Japanese like holidays, or maybe that's the Raku or whatever schedule. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called. But you do have those type of things in here if you have the Japanese version. This is the English, and it does not. So we get all of our weeks starting with December 30th. So you don't get a full month ahead in the cousin. In the weeks, I believe you do. I don't know about any of the other Hobonichi planners because I haven't done the classic or anything. But you get all of your weeks here. And then after you've made it to your last week, which is the last full week, so you don't go ahead any here either, because this is December 29th through January 4th, you'd be getting your new planner and such. It does have a 24-hour timeline here, just as an FYI. It starts at 5 a.m. and goes to 4 a.m. I tend to, and if you saw my other video, you know this, I tend to cut off at the, I do 5 a.m. to like midnight, and then I use this bottom portion for like a checklist and that type of thing. I love that you get this area at the top as well. That's where I tend to put my weather or other things. You can signify, if there's a holiday or a priority for the day, those type of things. It's a great spot for that. You have a lot of room in the sidebar for any notes or to-dos for the week and that type of thing. Then we come to this page, which is, it's called Turning the Page to a New Year. And the intention of this page, and you do have December calendar and January calendar down here, kind of signifying that transition from December to January. This is meant to be an area where you can put your reflections, your goals for the next year, any information from your previous planner that maybe needs to be transferred over into your new planner. All of that is meant to go on these two pages. Then we go into each month with daily pages. So you get a blank page at the beginning. Now in the Japanese version, I believe you get a segment on here that'll say, any seasonal holidays and seasonal foods, those type of things are going to be in here. But for the English version, it's completely blank. You do have this line here kind of signifying the beginning of the month and everything there. And then your daily pages are made up of, so you have your month, your day, what day of the week it is, the moon phase. So it does go through all the different moon phases here, not just full and new moons. You get a 5-box checklist next to that because it's approximately the same size. So it just design-wise goes really well. And then you have a timeline here. Now the dots are meant to be hour markers and lines are meant to be like half hour. So at least that's what I was reading on their site. So if you look here, you have a dot here, and then in between there is a very faint line. I'm not sure if it will show up on the screen. Hopefully it will, but there is a line between the two to signify. Now, when you're talking about the weeklies, you do get 2 lines or a line per half hour, which makes it a little bit easier, I think, but that is how this one goes. And down here at the bottom, which I would say is maybe the most contentious part of the planner, because a lot of people feel like this is wasted space. You do get a quote down here. These are quotes from the creator of Hobonichi. He does interviews with different people and has a master website. And so they tend to pull them from there. They try to make them seasonal, like seasonally relevant and things like that. I've found that the ones for the English version are they're kind of so-so. Some of them are good, some of them are bleh. And so for the most part, I kind of ignore them. A lot of people will put washi over this or decorate over it. It's whatever you prefer. It's not taking up a ton of space, so it doesn't really bother me. I'm not one of those people who's going to write so much that that's going to be an issue for me. And then down here in the bottom, we do get a calendar. For this instance, they just have the first day circled. But when you have a 2-page spread, and you'll have the major quote on this side and then who it's from on this side, kind of for spatial reasons. So know that you're only getting one quote per 2 pages. And then here you'll have both dates circled together. Now, like I said, each month does get their own color, and you do have that invisible or secret line there as well. So know that I think they repeat twice, or no, each month does have its own color. I was like, do they repeat? No, I don't think so. So January is kind of this orangey color. Then we get brown for February. March is kind of this purpley color. April is kind of a pink. May is green, like a light green. June is dark green. July is blue. August is kind of a darker blue. And now these are the only ones that are actually tabbed as well. So if you are going to put an outside tab, you can line them to this. The other areas are not. September is kind of this sienna type orangey brown color. And then October is a different purple. November is a dark green. And then December is red. And then after you get all through all of these pages, you get the unique pages at the back. Oh, sorry. I forgot about this. You also get a couple of pages of just graph paper, which I think is really helpful for miscellaneous things that you may want to keep in here. And then these pages are different depending on if you get the Japanese planner or the English planner. So in the English planner, you get a timetable. I don't think that the Japanese version has the timetable. And then we get a graph that you can make to whatever you want. Some people use it for weight tracking or whatever. Then you get a favorites page, so you can track your favorite movies, books, songs, meals or places to eat, shopping, and I think this is supposed to be theater. And you can put like the date, you circle what it is, and you give a star rating there. And then you can write, about it in here. Then we get a My 100 list, which a lot of people really like. You put your title up here. Some people break it into 425 periods or 250s, whatever you want to do. I do have some ideas on this as well that I think I'm going to be doing a whole series on different ways you can use your planner. But anyhow, there's the My 100. And then this is new this year, the sample symbols and icons. This is showing you different icons you can use in your planner, which I think is really cute. You can color these in, you can do whatever you want, but it's supposed to be there for inspiration for you. Then they always have like a text page. And this year is how to have fun keeping a diary. I think this is in both versions as well as the symbols, but I'm not sure about the My 100, but these I don't think are. So we have how to have fun keeping a diary. I'm going to enjoy looking this over. I always like the little things that they put in. Then we have oodles of noodles. So in the English version, they're talking about the different types of noodles. I think in the Japanese version, you have recipes here. Then we have words to remember. This is something that has been in here as long as I can remember. You just get a box. There's actually one, I think, for each month. The thought is to put the word or words, whatever you want, in this area and put the date at the bottom. Some people use this for memories or other things like that. Then we have a 365 checkoff sheet. So if you have a habit that you're tracking the full year, you can do that, or a 365 like photo project or something like that. You can use this. Now, I love the concept of this. The problem is if you get off track, which I did this last year, it's a little hard to find out where you need to restart. This is, again, not in the Japanese version. Getting the most out of your Hobonichi Techo. I think this is in the Japanese version as well, but I'm not positive. So you have all kinds of things, like it tells you about the download city, which is a part of their website where you can download some different things for your planner, and just has a lot of really useful little things here. Then we get a page for gifts, a page for addresses, a page for personal notes in case, something happens to your planner. Now, some of the unique pages that you're going to find in the Japanese version that are not in the English version are things like a chart of solar terms. There's an age chart which shows you, what year somebody was born and how old they would be this year. There's an emergency preparedness page. There's a conversion table, those type of things. So they are a little bit different from English versus Japanese, but not so much in the functionality. It's really these back pages for the most part. Then back here, we actually have a serial number. Each planner has their own unique serial number to show that they're not they have uniqueness. So just know that is there. I don't know if there's any other purpose for it, but you do have your own. These are all individual, and each planner should have a different one. And then you just have your back cover, and voila. I love this planner. I love how it gives you the outline, but also has the flexibility that you can plan a variety of different ways. It's kind of an intuitive design that really works for me, and so I love that aspect of it. I did think about replacing this with a sterling ink completely, but decided that the structure works so well for me that I don't want to mess with it. So this is going to be my everyday carry for this coming year. So that's all I have for today. If you guys have questions about the Hobonichi, let me know down below, and I'll try to answer those. I am super excited to start plotting out how I want to use the planner this next year and the different things I want to do to it. So anyhow, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button over there. Until next time, I'll see you real soon.